The good old Nintendo Switch has now been around for 8 years, and today, we're breaking down its entire life year by year. I will be ranking all 8 years from 1 to 10 based on the games and major releases. Then at the end, I'll score the Switch itself out of 20, looking at its strengths, flaws, and overall impact, leading to a final review score of blank out of 100. 2017, the launch year of Nintendo Switch. Believe it or not, I was in 4th grade at the time. To kick things off on launch day, we had the Switch release alongside a few launch titles, the biggest one being Zelda Breath of the Wild, one that I actually didn't buy on launch day because it wasn't for me, and the game that I did buy, 1-2 Switch. Boy, do I regret this! And then there were some digital launch titles. Snipper Clips was a great game. Beyond that, in 2017, you had straight bangers though. You had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Although it's a Wii U game, everyone loves Mario Kart. Splatoon 2 was the first Switch game that I was really excited for. And then Mario Odyssey came out. Now listen, we need to rank 2017 from 1 to 10. And I'm not even just trying to be nostalgic or anything, okay? But hear me out. There is never going to be a year in Nintendo history where you put out a 3D Zelda game and a 3D Mario game and more, and you're not gonna let me rank this year 10 out of 10. Listen, I know it's crazy to bring out the big guns, and I'm gonna be pretty critical of the years to come later on in the video, but 2017, I would argue, is the best year of Nintendo Switch. Later years got more games and all that jazz, but 3D Zelda, 3D Mario, Splatoon, Mario plus Rabbids, ARMS, blah! If I had it my way though, 1-2 Switch is so bad it could knock off 3 points, making this a 7 out of 10, but no, 2017, our first ranking is a 10 out of 10 year. On to 2018. A lot of games came out in 2018, but I'm talking about the major stuff here. Nintendo began things with Kirby Star Allies in terms of major titles, and honestly, to me, it just felt like, hey, let's get Kirby on Nintendo Switch. It wasn't my favorite 5-hour game, Kirby, it's whatever, right? But then Nintendo decided to get a little bit funky and released their passion project, Nintendo Labo. Now, I think as soon as a lot of people saw Labo in 2018, this was just the most Nintendo thing in the world. Only Nintendo would release cardboard creations like a piano, a house, a kid as a robot. And so I picked up the first kit, the Variety Kit, and also the Robot Kit. And although they were fun to make and everything, Labo as a whole, I don't like. So much so that I threw away all my Nintendo Labo cardboard pieces. These games are now useless. And I mean, apart from that, you had Wii U Remaster after Wii U Remaster. Mario Tennis Aces came out, I have it digitally, but Super Mario Party was also a thing. And guess what? 2018 was such a fun year that you even had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, a Pokemon title on Nintendo Switch. But here's where the cracks begin to form with 2018 for me. Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced in March of that year in a Nintendo Direct, and the whole year just kind of felt like we're waiting for Smash Bros. That was how I felt anyway. I'm sure for others, they loved Donkey Kong and Captain Toad and Mario Party. That's great. But for me personally, looking back on 2018, I played Captain Toad and Donkey Kong on the Wii U. Super Mario Party, in hindsight, is not the best Mario Party on Switch, dare I say, maybe the worst? Don't kill me. And Pokemon Let's Go is not my favorite either. The highlight was Smash Ultimate, which came out in December. The only other notable thing is Nintendo put out NES games on Switch Online. But overall, 2018, you're bringing Nintendo Wii U games to Switch for players who haven't played them before, and you put out some solid titles, but looking back at 2018, they're not my favorite titles. And the best game of the year came out at the very end of the year, December. Solid year, but I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. 2019, next. 2019 was a lot of freaking hoopla. Now, what I was really excited about in 2018 was a game I pre-ordered. I never pre-ordered. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Although I played it on the Wii U, what made it exciting is this is, I believe, the first time a Wii U cover art has made it on the back of a Nintendo Switch box. The Wii U logo is on a Switch game. Yeah, Captain Toad and Donkey Kong didn't have it. This was a first of its kind. No, but I love Mario Bros. U. Even though it's not the most creative, innovative game from Mario Bros. Wii, it holds a special place in my heart. Pokemon Sword and Shield, arguably the biggest game of the year? No, it can't be. Not the biggest, but I did enjoy Pokemon Sword a lot. For whatever reason, it reminded me of Pokemon X, my favorite Pokemon game, so I liked it. And then really, in 2019, you had something for everybody. Baby's first platformer game, I won't dive deeper into that. For the Nintendo Labo enthusiast, you had a VR kit. Listen, I actually played this, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not that bad, but I got very motion sick, so I stopped playing. Ring Fit Adventure, the exercise enthusiast. It's bringing all the casual gamers to Nintendo Switch. You gotta love it. I have it digitally, so it's not here. Super Mario Maker 2? Are you kidding me? That's the reason I said Pokemon Sword is not the biggest game. Mario Maker 2 is massive. And from somebody who played Mario Maker 1 on the Wii U, Mario Maker 2 was the best thing ever. It was the first Nintendo Switch game that I stayed up until midnight for it to release. Otherwise, on Halloween Day, you had Luigi's Mansion 3. I would say my second favorite Luigi's Mansion game, behind the GameCube one. And then you had the death of a series, Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. This is the last Mario and Sonic game that we know of. They said the series is over. I would believe them, so this will be rare. Probably not. But just when you thought that was it for 2019, Nintendo Switch released in China. No, seriously, it did. Also, the Switch Lite was announced and released. All the casual gamers are flooding in. Overall, for 2019, there was something for everyone. A very solid year for Switch. Sold a ton of consoles. I give it an 8 out of 10. On to 2020, the very weird and wild year. I would like to start this off by celebrating something big, my friends. 2020 was the year this guy became a Nintendo YouTuber. I created my channel in 2015, but your boy never uploaded before 2020, so this is the year of my birth. Not really, I was born in 2006, but the year of my YouTubing. Anyways, the first major game to release in 2020 for Nintendo, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. DX stands for deluxe, right? It's fun, it's just not worth 60 bucks. But then, my friends, this was the time. The pandemic was upon us. It's mid-March. Everyone's locked in their homes. We're not going outside. We're putting masks on. And what better game to release on March 20th, 2020 than Animal Crossing New Horizons? This, for those who may not know, is my favorite Nintendo Switch game of all time. Why, you may ask? I don't know. I've sunk over 2,000 hours into it. There's too many reasons. No, but just the cozy nature of the game, the way that it runs on a real-world clock, the way that you can do so many different things in Animal Crossing is what makes it great. And I'll always be Animal Crossing's #1 fan. Sorry if I took your spot as #1 fan. I am the #1 fan. No, we can all be fans. I'm just kidding. But this was a highlight for me, I'll tell you that. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition release didn't do that much for me personally. But what did do much for me is Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. As in the title, there are 51 games in Clubhouse Games, but they're all very simple, like chess, checkers, baseball, boxing, and it's just a cool mini-game collection with tons of satisfying sounds. I don't have it here, but I have it digitally. That is a gem. Also, pretty important to note, it is Mario's 35th anniversary. Yes, the 35th anniversary of the mascot of the company. Everyone had to be locked in their homes. Paper Mario the Origami King came out. Woohoo Mario. Super Mario 3D All-Stars came out. Woohoo Mario. Super Mario Bros. 35 launched digitally. What a mayhem that was. The amount of rage that game caused me, I'm kinda glad it's gone. No, I'm kidding. And then guess what Nintendo thought of to save all the people that were locked in their homes? Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. This was a real Mario Kart RC car that you could put in your house, make a course out of it, and play Mario Kart right in front of you in your house. By far one of the coolest things Nintendo has ever done, in my opinion. And guess what, folks? I still have one of these sealed in box. You all are gonna be buying this from me in 10 years when I list it on eBay for $10,000. It is sealed, my friends. That was a lot of fun though, even for how gimmicky it is. Otherwise, you ended the year with Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Listen, dude, for a pandemic, you couldn't do much better than what they did. Most game companies took it light. Most game companies delayed games. Most game companies did not have games coming out. If they did, they were made before the pandemic. So with that said, I will score this year an 8 out of 10. Solid year. 2021 is where things heat up though. Nintendo had to do it. They had to do it. They had to get this year going very good for me. Nintendo began the year with re-releasing my favorite 3D Mario game. What's it called? Super Mario 3D World. I forgot what it was called for a second. But not just that, they also released Bowser's Fury, what I'm gonna call a mini 3D Mario game to hold us over until the next one. We didn't know that the next 3D Mario game would release potentially 4 years later, assuming that it releases in 2025. But bro, 2021, they weren't messing around. 3D World, you had new Pokemon Snap release. I have it digital, I don't have it here. You also, in 2021, re-released Miitopia, the game that should have come out for Switch at the beginning. Game Builder Garage, we don't talk about. Mario Golf Super Rush, I thought was one of the better Mario Golf games, but I guess I'm wrong. I mean, it had a story mode and everything. It has to be good. I was told that's a bad opinion, though. Zelda Skyward Sword HD, I picked this up at Target, and it became my favorite Zelda game of all time. I'm also told that's a bad opinion. But hey, you like what you like. WarioWare Get It Together. I'm a big WarioWare fan. I didn't play this at launch because I didn't have the money for it, but one of the better WarioWares out there. Mario Party Superstars came out, and I enjoyed this more than maybe the old Nintendo player would, because this is essentially a remake of old Mario Parties. It has tons of old minigames in here, but it was fresh for me because I had never ever played those games. So to me, this felt like a brand new Mario Party. I enjoyed this. Your typical Pokemon remake, and Big Brain Academy. I am so glad this returned, it's not even funny. I got it for Secret Santa at Christmas time. I bet I'm the only person in the world that got this game for Secret Santa. That's besides the point. Not to mention the extracurriculars. Nintendo Switch OLED was announced and released in 2021. My beloved Animal Crossing New Horizons got the biggest update of all time, the 2.0 update. Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack brought N64 games. And because of all those games, my favorite game getting an update, Switch OLED coming out, 2021 deserves a fat 9 out of 10. 2022. 2022 is where I began making Nintendo YouTube shorts, where a lot of you know me from. If you don't know me from there, comment down below. I would be pretty surprised. And you started the year with a freaking bang! Pokemon Legends Arceus I own digitally. I stayed up for that one until midnight, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty upset by how the game was performing. It felt like a very low quality game in terms of graphics. I just didn't like how it played. I learned to get used to it, but it was very weird at the start. But then beyond that, phenomenal game. It was a ton of fun, very different. I cannot wait for Legends ZA to release. Then we had Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I would say for a 3D Kirby game, you know, I didn't have the highest expectations. There are some ways this game could have been better. I felt that the boss battles were a touch too simple. The game could have been a little bit longer, but overall, worth my 60 bucks. In April of 2022, you had the controversial release of Nintendo Switch Sports. You know, when this was revealed, I was going crazy in my reaction. But as we began to see more of the game, more cracks began to form. You'll know in Wii Sports, there were a ton of Miis being used, you know, Nintendo's avatars. In Switch Sports, you have some random kids playing. That is not what a Nintendo Mii looks like. It was missing some sports and some features. Later on, Nintendo added updates to the game to try and fix that. And I would say with the updates, this is a pretty solid game, especially for only $40 instead of $60. Worth the money, and it doesn't deserve the hate it gets after the updates. Before the updates, Nintendo released probably, in the public's eye, the most mediocre, worst Mario sports game of all time, Mario Strikers Battle League. Now, if you're asking me, I really enjoyed this game. I can definitely admit it's one of the worst Mario sports games, as there's barely any content, there's no story mode, there's nothing. But gameplay-wise, I got a few hours out of this. It was good. It's a good game, I just needed more of the game. You then had Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, 2 games that are not for me. That rhymes. Nintendo even did a weird thing where they put out Kirby's Dream Buffet, a $15 digital-only Kirby game. It was fine, I fell off of it pretty quick, but it was a charming Kirby game, just missing some key features like bigger online games. That was the one that everyone compared to Fall Guys. Then the game that I was excited to get, Splatoon 3. It is the ultimate Splatoon. It has turf wars, ranked battles, the card game mode, story mode, a ton of familiar NPCs, great DLC, one of the most worth it Nintendo Switch games, and one of the best. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope didn't spark any hope. And then Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Although it's a decent Pokemon game, this was shredded at launch. So much so, there was a rumor of Nintendo giving refunds for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 2022 wasn't my favorite. Objectively, it's not terrible, but I'm not there for the Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I'm not there for the Fire Emblem Warriors, and a lot of things went wrong. I didn't love Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, I didn't love Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's glitches, Kirby's Dream Buffet was Kirby in the Forgotten Land could have been better, Pokemon Legends Arceus didn't run well, Mario Strikers Battle League was not great, Nintendo Switch Sports was not good at launch either. So many good games came out, but a lot of things went wrong. Which is why, even though I just talked so highly of this is my least favorite year of Nintendo Switch. I give 2022 a 6 out of 10. 2023 was pretty good though. First of all, can I just say thank you Nintendo for kicking off this year with putting Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games on Nintendo Switch Online. That was how I knew it would be a pretty good year. Beyond that, you had Fire Emblem Gage to truly kick off the year. If you learned anything in this video, it's not a game for me. Metroid Prime Remastered, this game was hard to get at launch, but eventually they made a bunch more copies. I enjoyed it, but I guess I'm just not a huge Metroid guy, so I was kind of but I can see how people love this. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, solid. Advance Wars 1+2 came out, but then, what everyone was waiting for, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario RPG. I'm just kidding, it was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, of course. Listen, 10 years ago, I was not at all a Zelda fan, but I was so excited for this, I went to the midnight launch at GameStop, I picked up the special edition, did an unboxing video, then fell in love with this game. I didn't play it for 1,000 hours like some people did, I played for a good maybe 75, 80. And yeah, this is everything that it should have been, needed to be, and was expected to be. This is the first Nintendo-made Switch game, or game ever, that was priced at $70. So buy it, definitely buy it, but I wish I could say, okay, I'm gonna buy this game, but if you make every game $70 in the future, I won't buy that. Basically saying, please don't make any future games $70, but this one's worth it. Pikmin 1 and 2, probably the worst selling Nintendo physical game in the world, simply because these were released 2 months before the physical release, digitally, so why would you buy this? Okay, here's a game that I don't want to talk about. Hear me out. This is the worst Nintendo Switch game of all time. Do not buy Everybody Wants to Switch. No idea why they made this, no idea how this passed. Quality control, I don't know, I won't talk about it. If you need some proof of it being bad, there you go, there's a horse mascot on the front. It could have been better. But then, the other highlight in 2023, my favorite, Pikmin 4. This is the ultimate Pikmin game. Everything from previous Pikmin games was all thrown into here. Tons of new features were added, such as the Night Expeditions and, I forget what they're called, the Olimar Challenges, where you can basically relive Pikmin 1. And to 100% this game, there's a lot to do and a lot to explore, and this is one of the games where Nintendo goes all out to make it perfect, and this was, well, I was gonna say worth the 10-year wait, but maybe an 8-year wait would have been better. F-Zero 99 released a 99-person racing game for free, which was awesome. Detective Pikachu Returns released, probably the wet fart of the year. Mario Wonder released! What a change and what a sigh of relief after Detective Pikachu. I've said it before and I'll say it again, there was no better next step for 2D Mario than Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I was always curious about what the art style would look like, and they nailed it! Look at Mario, he's the best! Not only that, you had the Toads, you had Daisy, you had Peach, you had Luigi, all as playable characters. The fact that Mario turns into an elephant just makes this game one of the best of all time. Who would have predicted that 3 years ago? The Wonder Flowers add an awesome element which you can use in future Mario games. You're setting yourself up there. And overall, this game for me is a 10 out of 10, my favorite 2D Mario. WarioWare Move It, my favorite WarioWare game of all time, believe it or not. I've said it before on my Nintendo podcast, The Mario Matter. I played this game and I simply just could not stop smiling at it. It is the funkiest, wackiest game, and thankfully it's not $60, it's $50. Only downside is it is very short, like 2 hours. But let's see, that's $25 per hour to make you laugh a lot. I would pay it. And then we ended off the year with Super Mario RPG. Now listen, I was pretty high on this game at first, but if I'm being real, I really didn't love it at the end. And maybe that's because it's an older style game, and it's hard to pinpoint what exactly I was missing or what else I wanted in the game. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the characters, Geno and Mallow, give me some plushies of those guys, but just something felt off with the game I didn't like. So not the best ending to the year, but overall, this year was something special. 3D Zelda, 2D Mario, new Pikmin, Metroid Prime Remastered, everybody wanted to, not that game. I am giving 2023 a 10 out of 10. I'm not trying to suck up to Nintendo, but this was a year. 2024 next. The last full year of just Nintendo Switch. And thankfully, I bought every game that year physically, so I can talk about all of them in my hands. Beginning with Another Code Recollection. Seriously, my second favorite Nintendo Switch game of all time. When I saw this get announced, I was like, psh, whatever. When I played it, my gosh, the story totally grabbed me. I won't spoil everything, just know if you're a visual novel person, this game's calling your name. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the Game Boy Advance remake that came to Switch, it was fun. There were some, would you call them mechanical issues? I remember there was one time I jumped on a platform and I was on the platform and I fell right through it. Things like that just turned me off. It was fine. Princess Peach got her own game. Unfortunately, it was mid. It was fine. It was creative. It actually kind of exceeded my expectations. It just performed not the best, and it felt a little bit repetitive, even though it did mix a lot of things up. Also, the final boss was the easiest boss fight of all time. The only buttons I pushed and the only inputs I put in on my controller was whatever the attack button was. A, B, that was it. I didn't even move. Endless Ocean Luminous is the equivalent of Detective Pikachu Returns, the game no one asked for, nobody liked, but we got. I was excited for this, and I was pretty happy about it when it launched. After it launched, you know, a week later, this was garbage. What's not garbage, though? Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. You want to talk about one of the greatest games of all time? I have it in my hands. This hand. No, I'm sorry. No, but Thousand Year Door was one of the best RPG games, simply because whenever I play RPGs, I don't love reading all the text and the dialogue, but with this game, I could read it and genuinely chuckle. I chuckled! Good stuff. Good stuff. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, these were games that were just fine, but weren't worth my money, and then Nintendo released a mature game. Emio the Smiling Man, another visual novel type game, a very scary one. I wouldn't recommend it to kids, but it's interesting. And then Nintendo decided to save the best for last. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, you play as Zelda, Mario Party Jamboree, the greatest Mario Party game of all time, and Mario and Luigi Brothership, another great Mario and Luigi RPG game. Why did you save those three for last? They were all phenomenal. You could have put one out in June, one in January, and one in November. Split them up, because otherwise, I'm not gonna lie, this whole year wasn't great. A lot of remasters, a lot of games that were not really made by Nintendo. For example, Princess Peach Showtime was published by Nintendo, but made mostly by Goodfeel. And a lot of other things were handed off to other studios to work on and remaster. Which is fine, anyone can remaster things. I'm just saying, it was pretty light, not a whole lot going on until the end of the year. My overall score, 7 out of 10. And now that is all my rankings for the years of Nintendo Switch, but this video is far from over. And so, my friends, we have ranked all 8 Nintendo Switch years out of 10. Now, 8 times 10, 8 years times 10 possible points for each year is 80. Adding up all my scores, I gave the Nintendo Switch's years a 66 out of 80. But Max, we're gonna rank the Switch out of 100. Where do the next 20 points come from to get us to 100 points? Yes, we are. Now we get to talking about the Nintendo Switch itself. Its flaws, what it did right, what it did terrible. We talk about it now, and I'll be ranking this out of 20. 80 plus 20 is 100, we combine the final score, and we have reviewed Nintendo Switch. Now, Nintendo Switch, there are so many things this console does right. Just the entire gimmick, you can take off the Joy-Cons and play in TV mode, in handheld mode, in tabletop mode with the kickstand, the simple home menu, the loading times, so good. But there's also a lot of bad. The Nintendo eShop is the slowest thing I have seen in my days. What is this? This is taking forever to load. This is the buggiest thing. I can't even show you half the games on the eShop because they are not for kids. You know what I'm talking about. I won't say it. Sometimes Joy-Cons snap off without you even having to hold the eject button. Battery life is not it. On the original Nintendo Switch model, who thought this was a good kickstand? There is a lot wrong with the system, I tell you, a lot of things missing. In my personal opinion, the Switch is one of the best consoles of all time. I think that what the Switch does right, everything that I mentioned, outweighs all of the bad things. Oh, I didn't even mention Joy-Con drift, the worst! Anyways, with all of the good and all of the bad, I am ranking the Switch itself out of 20. I will give it a 19 out of 20. The Switch is simply that good. There's nothing wrong with it that is not outweighed by things that are right with it. The console concept is genius. It's perfect. So, 66 out of 80 for the games, 19 out of 20 for the Switch console itself. Put these together, and my final review score for the Nintendo Switch is 85 out of 100, or an 8.5 out of 10. Otherwise, folks, that is it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Here is another video from me that you can watch. Here is the main channel. Go ahead and subscribe. And here is my Nintendo podcast channel, The Mario Matter, where me and another Nintendo YouTuber talk about Nintendo news every single Saturday. I'll see you all soon. Adios.